Hi, welcome to the MGL podcast. This podcast is about our lives as missionaries of God's love. So welcome to our MGL podcast for our short episode. Today we're just answering a question. A question sent in that we hear all the time.
The question is what do you do when you don't know if it's God's voice or your voice?
So are you tuning into God or like your own imagination or something?
I just realize, I feel that God has made us to actually recognize his voice. Like he says in the scriptures, like he's a good shepherd and we are his sheep and the sheep recognize his voice. So it's actually, I find it's actually more natural to us than we realize. So
we have the ability.
We actually have the ability. So we just doubt that we have the ability. And because I think it's more about just being aware and tuning into God's voice. And as I've journeyed on, I feel like God talks to us way more than we realize. I kind of just feel God talking to me it's just in a gentle voice. It's kind of an awareness. But he's actually communicating with us all the time rather than just every now and again or a few moments in our lives. And
through like so many ways.
Yeah, for sure.
A variety of ways, through our lives, through, prayer, but, for other people, and he's through circumstances, through seasons, and he's always speaking, and it's our job to quiet our hearts to listen.
That's it, yeah.
I think there are two kind of distinct situations. So we have an experience of hearing his voice that's miraculous and it's hard to doubt, and then we have other times where it's a still small voice. Both of him speaking to us in profound ways, but with the miraculous, more obvious ways, there's gifts in the Bible, like a word of knowledge, or it could be like the gift of prophecy, for example, where God says something to you in a vision or says something to you in some particular way for another person to upbuild them. So, for example, recently I was going for a prayer walk, and I was praying for someone. And as I was walking, I saw a vision of her steps going up a mountain, and the Lord say, I'm going to give her a mountaintop experience. So I said, cool, I wonder what that means. I'll just text her, hey, I just feel like the Lord's saying, you're going to go up a mountain, he's going to give you a mountaintop experience, and something like that. And she texted me back saying, I've literally just walked up a mountain. I'm on the top having a beautiful experience right now, literally. And I thought, nice. Wow. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Now, that was really encouraging, upbuilding for her. God's letting her know that she's seen. But then other times, which is still him speaking to us and still is profound, his voice is a bit more softer, stiller, in the quiet, And those times, often we can kind of think, is it my imagination or whatever? But I think God's voice has a characteristic style about it. It's like anyone. When I know your voice, I'm like, oh, that's Chris, or that's what he would say, or that's what he's like. It's like that with any person. But when it comes to God, we tune into his voice, and the more we do, the more we get to know what it's like. We get to know what type of thing he would actually say, what he's like. And so even if he speaks to us in a soft, still voice, we can recognize him straight away, like an old couple. Imagine your grandparents, right? And your grandmother says to your grandpa, oh, do you want a cup of tea? And he just gives her a look, but they've known each other their whole lives, and she can understand just from this small, not even verbal communication, exactly what he because she knows him her whole life. And so it's like that with God. As the more we tune into his still small voice, the more we can recognize what it's like, what he's like, what he says. And so when even if we hear it just for a bleeding moment, in a soft way, it still speaks to us profoundly, and we still get to know his heart in quite a direct way. But that involves risk. You have to risk at first, right? Yeah. And the risk is you're just listening to your imagination or something. But the more you tune in, the more you're able to easily recognize that particular voice. Because when it's clear and you're like, this is God's voice, and in the moment when it's really miraculous and really spectacular, so you get to know that experience. But then even if it happens just quickly, you're like, oh, that was him. And because you've heard it so many times.
When I, if I pray and I journal, and then I kind of write down, sometimes, I sort of write down what I feel like God would be saying to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of through my own thoughts though, But then as I kind of look at it, like as we know God in the scriptures, like it's kind of, as you get to know God,
Yeah.
you read about him in the scriptures and what he says, and then it's like, it just rings true to that. Or if it's something completely on the other side and random and opposite to that, then I wouldn't be trusting it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you can even just, you can see by the fruit of it.
Yeah, like God, what is the type of thing that he says in the Bible, it's particularly in the revelation of Jesus, and is he building you up? Is he helping you? Is he,
stir you up, kind of like encourage you, challenge you, but also build you up, just in who you are.
And one thing I really find about God's voice is that it's not like any other voice. God's voice has a way of piercing the heart, like just getting to the heart of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it, when we hear his voice, it changes us. It speaks to the depths of us, like no one else can do that.
Yeah.
No one else can speak to our hearts like God can and change us. Yeah. It has this way of just transforming us, and just leading us the right way.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess if you're not sure and you have somebody like a priest or a spiritual director you can just talk to about.
Yeah. So I hope that helps to answer that question.
There you go. Yep.
It's amazing and it's an adventure. It's a journey and
Yeah, it's good.
Go for it.
Thanks, Father Justin.
Thanks, Father Chris. Thanks, everyone. And see you next episode.
See you next episode. Thanks for listening to the MGL podcast. Tune in every Monday and Wednesday for new episodes. Connect with us on Instagram at MGL_priests and brothers. And that's all from us. Until next time.